Howdy, my name is Memory Tragle, and I am presenting the effects of colors in correlation with logos and how consumers will judge these logos as well as products. The article that I chose to read about really focused on the psychology of consumers and how that they would correlate judgments based on just looking at a product, and that could be dealing with their logo, their overall brand, and specifically the colors in that logo. Basically, in other words, this is a consumer judgment based on a brand. Here we can see some background on this piece. The title is The Colorful Company, Effects of Brand Logo Colorfulness on Consumer Judgments. Below is the authors responsible for this article, and under the authors is the reference. So this is where you can find the actual article that everything in this presentation is based upon. The overall summary of this article would be pointed to basically in simple terms that many important factors such as the prominence of color and its role when it comes to the actual subject of advertisement. Colors and shapes tend to create a connection to the consumer's mind as to what these logos will represent. For example, red is Coca-Cola, golden arches is McDonald's, something that resembles a check mark is Nike, so on and so forth. The authors of this article hypothesized and basically predicted that colors will correlate to a logo, and that will increase the consumer support. In other words, buying a product from a specific brand. There were 4 studies that were mentioned in this article, but the first one talked about how participants were randomly assigned to a logo that was either high or low in color. In other words, something that was including all 3 primary colors were high, and something that was just including one of the 3 primary colors was low. And each person got a random assignment, and this is how the random process was included into the overall study. The biggest finding that came from this entire experiment were how each person judged the logo they had received. The multicolored logo, aka the one that was high in variety, was preferred over the one that was low in color or low in variety. The authors would conclude that their hypothesis that they had originally stated was proven, and it is true that the colors chosen will benefit a business and their products. My personal conclusion agrees with the entirety of this experiment, and I'm not surprised that the hypothesis resulted with the conclusion, but I will say color schemes are very important, especially in today's society when it comes to the subject of branding. It's not about the number of colors that are used, it's about how cohesive and how perfect they'll fit together in order to support a brand as well as the end result of a product. The ad shown on the right of the screen was one produced by Coca-Cola, and it was during the Share a Coke campaign, which started in 2014. This campaign actually boosted their sales by 2%, and 2% doesn't sound like a lot, but Coke consumption went from people buying 1.7 to 1.9 billion servings each day. Eventually, Share a Coke reached the #1 trending spot on social media sites globally, and each bottle or can was presented with either a name or a title of a person, which really allowed the consumers to interact with the product itself. The Share a Coke campaign was following the technique of brand logo colorfulness on consumer judgments. Red with silver allowed the consumer to immediately know it was Coca-Cola. With the Share a Coke trend, it eventually dies out, just like any other trend, but it creates the perfect opportunity to bring something new to the consumer's attention. So how could Coca-Cola rebrand itself? Maybe by adding new flavors and new can colors, it would spice up the consumer's attention and intrigue them to go out and buy some new Coca-Cola flavors. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed, and make sure you go get yourself a nice cold Coca-Cola.